terms of thinking about the great state of Georgia, but all of Georgia. Today, the groundbreaking marks another historic step forward for the state of Georgia and the city of Augusta. Once again, the governor affirms Georgia's commitment as the #1 state, not only to do business, but a commitment to securing our cyber future. Augusta is truly now poised to take on the role, as Forbes magazine posited in April, as one of 7 cities vying to be the cybersecurity capital of the world. We believe that we're winning that. Steve Jobs indicated that it's time for us to think differently if we're going to be cities of innovation. To do that, in Augusta, we have to stop thinking of Augusta and our economy as confined within our city limits. The global economy has no boundaries, so neither should ours. Cybersecurity represents that new global economy. May today's groundbreaking be a fixture in the minds of everyone who's gathered here today, that our best days are not ahead of us, our best days are now. Thank you. And the pledge. One thing I almost forgot. Would you please stand with me again? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor. We've gathered on this site several times over the past several months for some very special occasions. We celebrated back in June the first groundbreaking earlier this year. And you can look only over my shoulder to see what's been accomplished in a 6-month period. Many of the workers and the commitments that they've made to make this possible, we're truly indebted to them for their hard work and efforts and the number of hours that they've worked to make this a reality. We look at the Governor Dill's vision as he thinks about the future and what it means not only in this area but also to the state as we focus on cyber. I'd like to say thank you to each member of the many different teams that's made this possible to reach these milestones. And again, we appreciate not only your attendance, but your interest and your support in the Georgia Cyber Center as we work to make our state and nation better for generations to come. I'd like to point your attention out to the podium here, the logo that's displayed on it. That represents the design of the whole McKnight Georgia Cyber Center for Innovation and Training. And the logo embodies both the commitment of investment of the governor and of our state in cybersecurity and the defense of systems. The G symbolizes our state of Georgia, the solid foundation made of strong educational institutions and investment in innovative businesses and a skilled workforce. Above the G is a fortress symbolizing the protection of information and systems and all it takes to defend them, and in some cases, especially with our military taking the offensive approach in protecting the citizens of this state and nation. And the logo includes the names of 2 of our Augusta natives, James M. Hall and William McKnight, who have helped with a vision and to actually make today a reality. We are proud of what it represents and the commitment and vision of the governor in our state. It takes a number of people to make this a success, and I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize some of the groups, not only here in the state, but as we look to our elected officials that have played a role in making this happen. I know we have Congressman Allen with us today, and we appreciate your support. We have our state elected officials. I think we have some of them present. If you're here, thank you. Thank you for being with us today. And then the city commissioners, and we appreciate all of your support. Appreciate you being here. And any other elected officials, thank you for taking the time to attend this groundbreaking event. I'd like to take just a moment to recognize and say thank you again to the team of the construction entities here that have made this possible today, which we already see, but also what they'll start in only the next couple of weeks, where they'll start moving dirt again and getting building 2 out of the ground very quickly. We've already received our land disturbance permitting, so we're ready to move and Governor get this moving quickly. The governor's challenged us again with having this building open in December of this year. So we may take all of December to make that happen, but our target is to have it open December 31st, which means this has got to go up a little bit faster than the first building. So we're up for the challenge, and we appreciate our construction partners have said that yes, we can, working together, we can all make it happen. So thank you to the JLL team, who's our project management team, helping steer the course here. I know several of you are in the crowd. If you would just wave at us, thank you, thank you. New South Construction, our general contractor, who's got a lot of people here on site today doing a lot of work, so we thank you for your efforts. The Gensler team, our architects, who have a lot of work to get done in front of us very quickly here, and also Cranston Engineering. All of these folks have been great partners, and in their efforts to just make this happen. So, again, if you would give our construction teams a round of applause for all their hard work. I have the opportunity to work with a gentleman over the past 7 years as a citizen volunteer public servant. I'm appreciative of all that he does for our state. I'd like to invite to the podium Mr. Doug Lewis. Doug is the chairman of the Georgia Technology Authority. He's had a very distinguished career in the IT field, and personally has given me lots of guidance and counsel over the 7 years I've been with the state. And so I'm proud to introduce you to Mr. Doug Lewis.
Actually, Calvin has been great to work with as well. He accomplished great things. One of the things he accomplished was to ask me to introduce the governor. And this came as something of a surprise. I'd never introduced a governor before. So I asked, well, what should I talk about? And I got this really nice email. And it told me, some good words to say, which I'm going to totally ignore. The last line, though, said, don't take more than 1 minute. So that was the imperative. I do have to tell a quick story, though. I was hired into AT&T a long time ago, a very long time ago. My boss was an extremely brilliant guy, and I approached him early in my career with him with what I thought was a really good idea. And he listened, he asked some questions. There was this long silence. And then he said, the problem, Doug, with every great idea is sooner or later, somebody has to do something, which is true. I think we all agree that the Cyber Center is a really good idea. I think it's a fantastic idea. It's foresighted. We have no idea what's going to come of it. We just know it's going to be great. Governor Deal has not only done something about this great idea, he's doing something about the great idea. And I've watched him with his focus on cybersecurity, and I know that he's going to continue to do a lot more. And I think as citizens of Georgia and citizens of the United States and perhaps citizens of the world, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to Governor Deal and the people who are working on this cyber center. So I think I've used up my 1 minute, and I'd like to hear what the governor has to say. Governor Deal.
Well, thank you very much, Doug, and I'm pleased to be back here again. Calvin, thanks to you and for what you do in your leadership role, and Doug, you and the board, thank you for what you do to continue to make Georgia the #1 state in the nation in which to do business. 5 years in a row, nobody has had that distinction in the state of Georgia. In fact, we'd never had that distinction for even 1 year prior to 2013. So thanks to the things that have happened in other spheres and here in this area, we've been able to maintain it for 5 years. And I'm looking forward to #6, too, I might tell you. Now I want to go quickly through a time frame. And some of you were here, in fact, I think maybe most of you were here about 6 months ago. And prior to that, about 6 months prior to us being here in the summer of this past year, on my State of the State address last year, and just to give you the proximity of everything, I'm going to be giving my State of the State address in next week. This week. Excuse me. It's this week. Time flies when you're really having fun, I announced this project in the State of the State in 2017. And here we are today in the week in which I give the 2018 State of the State Address here at this ceremony today, not dealing with what I talked about last year. I'll be back in July to talk about that one when we actually have the ribbon cutting on the first facility. We're here today to talk about the second facility. And if you wonder about that December deadline, Doug, the only reason that that's important is because that's the month just before I leave office. So I don't want to miss the opportunity to come back and be here again. But this is truly remarkable in terms of the time frame in which it has occurred, but I think even more remarkable in terms of what it's going to achieve. Most of you know that there are times in life when opportunities present themselves. And many times the future of a person or of a company, or in this case of a state, is determined by whether or not somebody is willing to seize those opportunities and, as Doug says, actually do something about it. Y'all have all been great supporters of us as we have seized the opportunity to do something about cybersecurity. I am pleased to see so many of the military component here in the Augusta area from Fort Gordon and from NSA, and they were really part of that initial incentive for us to do this. That was the opportunity that was presented. Anytime the federal government's going to spend $2 billion in your state to do something, you should pay attention as to what they're going to do with those investments. And we thought it presented a great opportunity for us to be a good partner and also to go forward with a common enterprise. Now, I can't claim all the credit for this. I have one of the people of my staff who is with me today who can claim some of that credit, and that is Teresa McCartney, who is head of our Office of Planning and Budget. Teresa, where are you? Oh, she's hiding out there in the wings. She's the lady with the checkbook for the state of Georgia. And in most enterprises, you need to know who has the checkbook. The other one, and really is one of the main motivators for this, is Chris Riley, who is my chief of staff. He is not with us today, but he and Teresa got with me and we said, why don't we do something? Why don't we take advantage of the opportunity that's presenting itself? And that's why, as I was this time last year putting the finishing touches on my State of the State address, that was the impetus for including this project in that address. So we've come a long way in a relatively short period of time. Now, I must say that this, even though it's cold, is a little more pleasant than when we had the groundbreaking ceremony back in the summer. I don't know what those little things were that were flying around. And I grew up in Middle Georgia, just down the road from here. And I lived here in Augusta. I was thinking about it. I may be the second governor, the first one since Carl Sanders, who actually has lived in Augusta. I was stationed here at Fort Gordon, and we bought a house while we were here. Sandra taught the local school system. Our first child, our only son, was born at the old facilities on Fort Gordon. So I have a connection with this community, and I have had one for a very, very long time. And I'm just glad that this opportunity presented itself in a part of our state that really needs some help. Much of what we talk about and hear the media talking about is what is happening in the greater metropolitan Atlanta area. And a lot is happening there. I am thankful for what is happening there. But we need diversification as to where job opportunities are actually going to exist. This is a great chance for us to take advantage of high-paying job skills that will benefit this community, it will benefit the state of Georgia as a whole, and it will benefit our nation. Because I think most of you know that cyber and cybersecurity is one of the areas where the future of our existence is in many respects dependent on that. of us having the ability to deal effectively with those who would do us harm. So the whole McKnight Georgia Cyber Center for Innovation and Training, I don't know what the abbreviation for that is yet, Jim. We'll have to figure that one out. It's got to be pronounceable, of course. It's going to open its doors in, as I indicated earlier, in less than half a year. That first facility. And it looks magnificent, I might say. A lot different than what it was the last time that I was here. So congratulations to the architects and to the construction crews and those who've had that actual hands-on responsibility. Your work is very impressive. So why, even before you cut the ribbon and open the doors on this first facility, why in the world, and it's 167,000 square feet, why in the world would you want to build another facility of 165,000 square feet right adjacent to it? Demand, demand, demand. That's what the reason is. Because the first announcement with the first facility was so well received by the public community, by the private business community, that here again, it presented another opportunity. And Hardy, I want to thank you and your Board of Commissioners for your contribution to this, because when you put what the state has put into this project, and I won't call that a project, even though it has two components, it is coupled with the money that the local government has put in, it is over a $100 million capital investment. That doesn't happen just every day. That does not happen in a lot of states, maybe in a forever situation. But we are very fortunate to have the opportunity to do that. Now let me talk to you briefly about why it's important. Well, first of all, we know that there are other states who would very much like to be in the posture we're in today. We just beat them to the punch. And that's the way you stay number one, is you leap ahead and you stay ahead. Once you get there, you don't look back. What was it, Satchel Paige said, don't look back over your shoulder. They may be gaining on you. I'll tell you, I hadn't looked over my shoulder. I'm looking to go forward, and I think that's what all of you have done. And I want to thank the members of the General Assembly and all of you who have helped make this project possible. Just think of the job opportunities that are going to be provided to young Georgians. And the truth of the matter is, we're going to have a lot of folks who are not Georgians right now who are going to become Georgians, because this will be a unique opportunity. And coupled with the leadership of Dr. Keel and Augusta University and the Augusta Technical College, they're going to have opportunities for internships, for apprenticeships, for co-op programs with the private sector community. If there's one thing that I think our state has demonstrated, it is this: public-private partnerships get you a lot further down the road of progress than just government trying to do it itself. And this is going to be successful because it's going to offer the opportunity for the private business world to come in, to be the inventors, and we will help them with those processes of getting their patents if they need it, and we hope they'll have a lot of them. We're going to partner with them because that's where the investments of the future are going to come from, is from the private sector. And this is going to be a model in many, many respects. Not just the premier training facility in cybersecurity, not just the premier facility where we house our Georgia Bureau of Investigation cyber crime unit, which will be housed here. It will be unique in that it will provide the private sector and students the opportunity to learn very, very important skills. So, I'm indeed proud to be here today, and I will be back in July if everything stays as it is supposed to be, and I think that it will. And I want to thank all of you once again in conclusion for being a community that has opened your arms to this opportunity. Sometimes opportunity doesn't look as pretty as you might want it to be. But y'all have put a lot of rouge and lipstick in your efforts. This is not a pig. This is a great facility that is going to provide promise, going to provide opportunity, and going to change the lives of Georgians and of the people of our great nation. I'm just glad that it's right here in Augusta, Georgia. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Governor, for your leadership in this area. It's just tremendous to be a part of your team to actually make this happen. It's my pleasure. Governor talked about the private sector and public-private partnerships and how important that is. And so we have some members representing that area that are going to come and share a few of their thoughts on why this is important. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Tom Clark, Doctor and Command Sergeant Major and retired. Tom Clark served over 32 years in the Army, culminating his service as the Army Signal Regimental Command Sergeant Major, U.S. Army Signal Center at Fort Gordon. He retired in 2011 and spent 5 years as a training manager with General Dynamics at Fort Gordon, and is currently the Executive Director of the Alliance for Fort Gordon. And they're great partners, and I'd like for you to come share a few words with us.
Thank you. You've never introduced a governor, and so I've never spoke after a governor. I'm truly humbled. You beat more people to the punch, soon you'll be Governor Rocky Balboa. I'm Tom Clark, the Executive Director for the Alliance for Fort Gordon. At our core is a best-in-class relationship between the Alliance, Fort Gordon, and the region. On behalf of the Alliance for Fort Gordon, Stan Shepard, my chairman, many of my board members that are here, but more importantly, the 30,000 civilian and military personnel who work on Fort Gordon every day, and the 80,000 other retiree and off-post family members serviced by Fort Gordon. I'd like to thank you, Governor Deal, for your vision and leadership in spearheading this great state-led cyber and innovation training center. I'm truly honored and humbled to be here today and grateful that I live in the great state of Georgia. I truly believe that there is no military installation in America that enjoys a closer, warmer, and more supportive relationship than the one Fort Gordon enjoys with our neighbors. We call this two-state, seven-county region the Fort Gordon Cyber District. The center of that district is Fort Gordon. It's located less than 8 miles from here on 56,000 acres, and it's home to the Cyber Center of Excellence, NSA Georgia. Fort Gordon also houses the Cyber Battle Lab, the Army and Signal School, and by 2020 will be home to the United States Army Cyber Command. Many people talked about the Fortune magazine article that listed the Garden City as 7 cities that could become the world's cybersecurity capital of the world. Many of my friends ask me, what's here? What's Augusta have? We have Fort Gordon. Soon we'll have the Army Cyber Command. And now, thanks to you, Governor, and so many, we'll have the whole McKnight, Georgia Cyber Center for Innovation and Training. And with these, we'll have a dominant cyber hub to support a cyber ecosystem. We'll have proximity to world-class research universities like Augusta University, Augusta Tech, Aiken Tech. We'll have a large population of military folks. We'll have access to angel and venture capital and a culture of cooperation and entrepreneurship. Everything that article said we would need to make this successful. They called us a dark horse, but thanks to you and your leadership, sir, that horse is up and running. My son goes to Greenbrier High School. It's right across town, and his current curriculum includes a state's approved cyber pathway. This building could be his route out of our house. Very important. In the cyberspace domain, public and private partnerships are absolutely critical. I've heard General Morrison say that in many of his speech, and thank you so much, sir, for your leadership. The whole McKnight, Georgia Cyber Center for Innovation and Training will be in a unique position to capitalize on over 1,800 service members who exit the military yearly from Fort Gordon, looking for employment in this unique and challenging field that, make no mistake, protects freedom in the American way of life. In closing, our presence today it's not a wager. The state of Georgia, the city of Augusta, the Fort Gordon Cyber District, we have the winning combination of cyber resources to be successful. The growth across this region has provided us with many challenges, but these challenges have also presented us with a unique, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to establish a culture of cyber innovation, collaboration, support for startups and entrepreneurs, and true workforce development. Georgia peaches, Augusta golfers, they're all common trademarks across the globe. Now this region has a once-in-a-lifetime chance to add the term Southern Cyber Professional. Say it 3 times. Southern Cyber. I'm telling you, I can see Samuel Jackson doing it in the Mercedes Dome, the way he gets the crowd going. Augusta, Georgia, nestled in the Fort Gordon Cyber District, home of the whole McKnight, Georgia's Cyber Center for Innovation and Training, a city and state full of Southern cyber professionals. That's what we have in our wallets. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Talked again about public-private partnerships. Now I want to talk a little bit about the innovation area in the center here. And so we've asked Mr. Johnson Cook, who has worked in the tech startup ecosystem in Atlanta since he graduated from Georgia Tech in the year 2002. In 2013, he co-founded the Atlanta Tech Village and helped the South's largest startup hub and community center there. The Atlanta Tech Village has been home to over 500 plus startups and has raised over $400 million in funding, creating thousands of jobs right here in Georgia. So please help me welcome Mr. Johnson Cook.
So a few weeks ago, Calvin and Randall Robeson asked me to speak at this thing, and I kept wondering, why would they want an entrepreneur to speak at a groundbreaking? This makes no sense. Even my wife and my parents were asking, why are you doing that? And just a little while ago, it all made sense when they asked me to get in the back of a trooper car. I figured, okay, it's up. That's over. I knew it was a whole big joke. But I'm very happy. Thank you. This is very exciting. And I just want to make 2 quick points to keep us warm and keep us moving. The first point is, this will work. This will work, hands down. When we did the Atlanta Tech Village, it was a little bit of a crazy idea. And entrepreneurs, we always say it will work. You always say it and you preach it and you know it will work, even though it may or may not work. The Atlanta Tech Village worked. The reason it worked is because it wasn't that hard, right? So all we did was put a 100,000 square foot building in the middle of Buckhead where there were deep natural resources. And those resources in an innovation ecosystem, talent, ideas, and capital. So it's like, we could talk about like a rainforest, right? So you have water and soil and sunlight, and you have all these things. We just mixed it up a little bit. Just give them a place to come, and they all know where to meet, and it happens. It's really not that hard. Even the government can get it right. So this is really exciting, and I think this will work. The second and final point I'm going to make. So my current startup that I'm working on is called Greenlight. It's a debit card for kids that parents control from their phones. So even your son you can control his money, take it back, you can charge him rent, all those sorts of things. And Greenlight, we are building it inside the ATDC at Georgia Tech, which is a startup incubator that's been there for over 30 years. I think the longest incubator, oldest incubator in the state. And the second point I want to make is that it matters more than you think that this works. You think that ATDC is just helping create jobs and all these cool tech innovations, but if you look at our company, Greenlight, 1 year in market, we have 75,000 kids using this debit card that are 12 years old, learning how to manage their money, give to nonprofit, save money, invest money. Like, they're starting out years ahead of where I was at 12 years old. Now, that's not something you would have said ATDC was going to do, but I just want to make the point, it matters more than you think. So thank you for doing this. This is very exciting. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Justin, thank you. We've also asked Tom Patterson, who's the Chief Trust Officer at Unisys, a global technology leader in global security, is headquartered right here in Augusta. He again brings and shows us the private sector component, how we can partner to achieve great things together. Tom's got 3 decades of experience across many facets of the security, and he leads the UNICEF effort and their breakthrough in security technologies that help this civilized world from all the threats, both foreign and domestic. Tom serves on several public company boards and advises the FBI, Secret Service, White House, and other securities. So we are grateful to have you here with us and to share some thoughts on how we can partner with the private sector.
Thanks very much. It's really a great event to be part of. I want to thank everybody for including me and including Unisys. We made a conscious choice to move here to Augusta a couple of years ago, and it's been fantastic. And as you said, Governor, look forward. Everybody's focused forward, where we're headed. I represent not only Unisys as a Chief Trust Officer, but I'm also a member of the global cyber community. I do work around the world from right here in Augusta, and it works out great. And so we're going to see more and more, I think, companies doing that within this 2-state, 7-county area that we call the Fort Gordon Cyber District. This center that we're building is not just where innovation begins. Lots of places start innovative ideas. But I believe this is built and the ecosystem is here for innovation and cyber innovation to really prosper. We have all the ingredients we need as a community to make really life-changing, world-changing, American-defending progress from right here in Augusta. Let me talk to you about some of the parts of that ecosystem that really are necessary. We talk a lot about work, live, and play, which is what attracts a millennial worker. But to make all of this work, you need all the ingredients in the soup. So we have the great representation of the military, not just housed here, but an active partner. The teams that work for you, General, have been fantastic in my time here, just really in the outreach and the making public-private really work. We have the intelligence community where I came from represented. They don't have they don't sit in the front row and have the uniforms on, but they're here and they're all around. And the intelligence community is well represented in this area and is a huge partner for innovative cyber capabilities coming out around the world. And we also have the critical infrastructure of the world. People don't understand the need for cyber in everything else. So what do we have around here? Healthcare. We're one of the leading healthcare cities in the world, right? And who cares more about healthcare security than us? So by partnering with our cyber expertise and our healthcare expertise, we don't become one of the 7 areas looking to be a leader. We become the dominant player for combining security and healthcare. Same with energy. Nuclear power plant. We've got great nuclear scientists and engineers all around. What's more important than the security of energy around the world? Again, another intersection point that we can have. Golf. Well. But all these missions are going to drive innovation from concepts, which are plentiful, to reality, which is based right here. We've got the pieces. We've got the great governor deal, and I really do want to thank you, sir. This would not have happened without your personal drive. Genius to put a deadline. You never hear that in Washington. You should do that. Have a deadline. It's a reasonable deadline. It's like, no, you got to do it in this impossible time. That's why we have a building here instead of a lot. It's fantastic. We have Mayor Davis, quiet partner here, just has been fantastic to work with since I've been here these past couple of years. Really knows how to get it done. It helps to have an engineer in office, which is always a good thing. We have lots of global businesses. My own Unisys Corporation that will get cyber capability down here, but also companies like Booz Allen, Leidos, who else? Raytheon. There's a growing list of these companies that have moved cyber components from DC or from California or from wherever else they were right here because they want to be part of this ecosystem. Local companies are evolving their own business models to become from a general purpose company to a cyber company, or adding cyber to it to take advantage of all this. Education. When we got here just a couple years ago, there was no Dr. Keel here, and now we have Augusta University, which has gone from not having a cyber practice to having a world-class cyber undergraduate, and now this is the first semester now for your graduate program in cyber. All needed components and great teachers that you've got coming here. And the ACE program, Alliance for Cybersecurity Education, not everybody knows about. A huge community-wide effort to bring cyber education to K through 12 and to the 2-year colleges that are around here to make sure everybody can benefit. Coding clubs. I don't know if any of you have participated, your children have participated in coding clubs here. We've got great coding clubs, places like the Clubhouse, and I know Grace is here with the Clubhouse and what she's doing. Mock Academy, which is one of my favorite groups out at the Fleming Tennis Center, started their own coding club. They've got kids from 6 years old learning Python. And what we tell them is if you can code, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, or young or old, or black or white. It just matters that you can code. And if you can code, there's a job for you. And if you can code, anybody can code. You can learn this. These 6-year-old kids are running circles. They're winning the weekly competitions. It's just a great place to be. The big draw is the soldiers, the sailors, the Marines, the airmen that are all working here at Fort Gordon, retiring out of Fort Gordon, and want to stay in this great quality of life. All those people are becoming the fuel that's going to fuel all the growth that we've got. New technologies, innovation that can be started here because it isn't being led anywhere else in the world. You hear about things like blockchain and bitcoins. Everybody reads about bitcoins. You probably got some in your stocking. Bitcoin, the center of gravity for Bitcoin is Venice Beach, California. It's a bunch of kids in beach houses. Rich kids in beach houses. But there's no reason why we can't take what's going on in blockchain. We can't take what's going on in microsegmentation, quantum computing, augmented reality. All these are brand new cyber innovative areas. This center is built to grow and prosper, and it's going to help not only the center and the participants I ticked off, but everybody that lives here. So let me close with a comment that I made 2 years ago when I first moved here. So I was on a local TV news station, and the interviewer said, so what do you think? And I said, well, I think cyber's going to give golf a run for its money in this town. Remember there? So look around and tell me what you think today. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. All right, now we're going to move to what we're calling our ambassadors for this groundbreaking ceremony. We've got 4 groups today. I think the first 2 groups, you know who you are. The third group, we'd like to invite all of our elected officials to get a picture taken with the governor. And then the 4th group, all of our military. We're so thankful for what you do every day, and also for the partnership we have with you in making what we're doing here a reality. So if you would, Governor, we're going to ask our group 1, if they'll go ahead and come forward. What's unique about this group is this is the future. This is why we're building this facility. So we have representatives from Fort Gordon Cyber, from the Clubhouse, showing our private sector partnerships. Augusta Tech, representing the technical college system across the state. Augusta University, representing the entire university system. And then state government, our cyber needs and focus and training state government. That's what these people represent. Governor, if you'll join our ambassadors here, and we'll get started. And then as we conclude, there's refreshments and drinks in the bags. Please help yourself.